Thank you so much for joining us for our spring alumni town hall. On campus this week, it is finals and the academic year comes to an end on Friday. We enjoy this annual virtual event as a great way to share some good news from campus and bring you the latest on issues that are important to our alumni. My name is Colleen Garland. I'm Vice President for Advancement, and I'll be serving as your moderator this evening. I'm pleased to be joined by Kenyon's 20th president, Julie Kornfeld, who had the opportunity to meet some of you at recent events for alumni in Charlotte, Pittsburgh, and New York. We also have Annie Gordon, our Director of Alumni Engagement, to preview an exciting new networking tool for students and alumni that will be rolling out shortly. In addition, many of you have had questions about how Kenyon is navigating the shifting federal and legislative landscape. So we've invited Jackie Holmes, Vice President and General Counsel, to join us this evening to answer some questions about how Kenyon is approaching this moment and answer questions you may have. And then we are especially looking forward to presenting 4 alumni with awards to recognize their great work for Kenyon and out in the world. They'll be presented this evening by Ronald Mejia, class of 2013, who is currently our Vice President of your Alumni Council. Just a few housekeeping items. You're all on mute so that we can keep the audio clear for everyone, but we'd very much like to hear you. So at any point in the hour, feel free to use the chat function and send your questions to Ask Question, and a member of our team will get those to us. If for some reason we don't get to your question tonight, we'll do our best to follow up with you offline after the event. So now it is my pleasure to introduce President Julie Kornfeld. Julie.
Always good to take myself off of mute. Hi, everybody. It's wonderful to see you all here. Excited to be with you tonight. As Colleen said, we are closing out the academic year with lots of wonderful end of the year events, although it is a bit rainy on campus today. But I know that many of you, as Colleen mentioned, are reading about the headlines in higher education and wondering what that all means to Kenyon, for Kenyon, and I'm happy to talk about that. But I'd rather start with what excites and inspires me these days. And as Kenyon's president, there is so much in that category. So as most of you know, and it has been a pleasure to meet so many of you around the country, both this year and last year. I am closing out my second academic year. I came to Kenyon a year and a half ago, really because of its amazing reputation as a truly exceptional liberal arts college, and because I believe deeply in the power of the liberal arts to prepare students for a complex and changing world, one I think we are living in. So it's nice to know we're sending out new graduates in the world. But I have not been disappointed since my arrival in terms of what I have found here. We continue to attract some of the best students in the nation. I know this because I have seen the profile of our latest crop of admitted students, and they are terrific. Half of the class applied early decision, which speaks really to the strength of the college. And for them, like many of you, there was just no other choice but Kenyon. And May 1st, as many of you know, is admission decision day. And we passed that last week and really hit exactly where we thought we would be. We will have 450 new students that will arrive here in the fall. We're not quite done. We have some new transfer students to admit, which we do a little bit after we admit the class. And we have some students who have asked for extensions, but pretty much we are where we expected we would be. Very exciting, wonderful. We had 3 really robust admitted student days on campus that were completely sold out, 80 students each, with over 250 parents coming with them. Very excited. Those admitted students days really show off Kenyon, and we yield very high from those admitted students day, and it's been a wonderful season. And all of our senior staff and faculty and students really welcome the community, the students to our community, and it's just a wonderful day and a half of events when we really all come together. I will say, as you know, that much of what brings our students here is our exceptional faculty and our extraordinary campus. That is really an amazing backdrop to our teaching and learning. And as you know, thanks to the generosity of our donors, our recent campaign was a huge success, historic success at $532 million, and we have a beautiful campus. which I call is really a canvas on which to imprint our future. If you have not been back to campus lately, you must come. Many of you know, we brought online two new, one new residence hall, Thomas Hall, opened in January, and our second one will open this fall. Beautiful, beautiful apartment suites that have wonderful views of the rolling hills of Ohio, and they're beautiful, so beautiful that when we had the opening ribbon cutting, many of the faculty asked if they might be able to move in as well. So that should give you a sense of how beautiful and wonderful they are. It has been a wonderful spring season. I enjoyed a spring senior dance recital this weekend. The Kokoksing singers performed the weekend before. This is a time of wonderful senior capstones and theater performances, and it's an exciting moment. A month or so ago, we had the Center for the Study of American Democracy held a conference on immigration, which included a dozen scholars and experts with a tremendous array of views on a very complicated subject. We really had national experts here and an incredible discourse, which is very typical of approach here at Kenyon, where we continue to showcase and really explore all the various viewpoints. We have an award-winning and a MacArthur Genius Grant Fellow, Jackie Woodson, who's a young adult writer. She will be our commencement speaker next Saturday, coming right up, May 17th. I was fortunate enough to go to the Kenyon's women's swimming and diving team, where they finished, the women finished third, and the men scored a top 5 finish. So very exciting and wonderful to see Kenyon showcased on a national stage. That was my first time attending that. Share with you a little bit about some of our affiliates. The GUND, you may have read, achieved a national accreditation from the American Alliance of Museums, which is the highest national recognition afforded to museums in the United States. And only 3% of the 33,000 museums in the country actually have this honor. So this is a really exciting opportunity for the college and for the GUND. Philander Chase Conservancy was honored this month, and they are being recognized for 25 years of land conservation work in Knox County. So we will be celebrating that with them. We held Honors Day a few weeks ago, and for those of you who may want to know about some of your faculty, the professor, our senior trustee teaching excellence award went to our senior professor of physics, Tom Giblin, and Iris Levin was associate professor of biology and environmental studies, were big winners. So that was very exciting. And this is just a wonderful time on campus. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit more a bit later in the call about our strategic plan implementation and some of the visions that we have for our third century. But I am going to turn this back to Colleen, since we are in the moment. I think it's time to recognize some good work of many of you.
Thank you, Julie. So yes, let's stay in the spirit of recognizing good work and bring Ronald Mejia to present a few of the college's awards for alumni. We ask for your nominations every year, and we present these and a few other awards around reunion weekend. So let me turn it over to you, Ronald.
All right. Thank you, Colleen. I'm definitely proud to be here tonight representing Alumni Council. All right. So to begin our award presentation this evening, we have the Ann J. Robinson Award, which is awarded annually to the Outstanding Regional Alumni Association President and recommended by the Alumni and Parent Engagement staff and endorsed by members of the Alumni Council. Now tonight, our winner is Emily Levi Doncona of the class of 2016 with the Chicago Regional Association. Emily was an international studies major at Kenyon and is now training and operations manager at the Center for Health and Social Care Integration at Rush University Medical Center. Emily has worked closely with APE staff to keep Chicago area alumni connected with quarterly happy hours that draw a great crowd. With the help of fellow alumni on the regional association, Emily works to find venues around the city and is welcoming when alumni move to town. Check out the Kenyon Alumni Events page or keep an eye out on your email for the next one in June. Thank you for your great work, Emily. And would you like to hop off mute and say a few words?
Yes, thank you so much. I just wanted to say thanks so much for this award, and I wanted to also shout out the other regional alumni in the area, Dan Rooker, class of 2012, who really built up the infrastructure for us here in Chicago, as well as Brady Furlich and Nicolette Peters, who have really helped out a lot. We've got a great crew here, and it's nice to have such a good community in Chicago.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Emily. So I also want to plug that Kenyon does have alumni associations all over the country, and chances are there's one near you. I'm really excited that the Milwaukee one is starting to flourish. So great news. So up next, we have the Humanitarian Service Award, which is given at the discretion of Alumni Council to members of the Kenyon family who have demonstrated a lifelong commitment to humanitarian service. This year, we're proud to present to Jay Sears of the class of 1989. Jay founded the nonprofit Team Daya Incorporated, which works to fight poverty and illiteracy by funding and constructing primary schools in the developing world in 2018. One of the inspirations for Jay was his experience studying abroad his junior year in Nepal. Daya means kindness in Nepali. And so we can see here in this photo, this is Jay on the right, and Team Daya member and benefactor Jeff Green with the local village chief in a remote community in Senegal last summer when they returned to build a second school. Team Daya completed their first school groundbreaking in Nepal in October 2019. The group actively funds primary school construction projects in remote areas of Nepal, Senegal, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. In June, the group will hold the groundbreaking for its 10th school in Malawi, East Africa. In addition, seeing local news coverage declining, in 2006, Jay started MrRye.com, covering his community of Rye, New York. Each summer, the publisher hosts college and high school students to teach editing, photography, and the importance of the Fourth Estate in a functioning democracy. Jay, congratulations. And then would you like to hop off mute and say a few words?
Sure, I would. Thanks, Ronald, and thanks everybody for this recognition. I want to thank Pete Graustra, Susie Hudgens, and a number of other co-conspirators, and ask them to come forward in the next day or two. I don't know who you all are, but thanks to the classmates that thought of me. As Ronald said, one of the origin stories of Team Daya was my junior year at Kenyon. When I met a principal in a very remote area of Nepal in the Annapurna Mountains who left an indelible impression on me. I think another important Kenyon influence was my political science degree when I learned what a citizen is in a civil society. And names like Bauman, Clore, Melanson, and Klesner, and the impact that they had on me. So if I can do this, any of you can do this. I guess my message is to do something. Just by the nature of being on this call, all of us won the coin toss in life. And to do things like this, I often think it brings those of us that work on it as much or more joy than the communities that are our partners. And these are places that are just deeply, deeply deserving. These are places that have no school. They teach children under trees. So there are all sorts of ways, obviously, to help the college, to help places like Team Daya, but the big message is just to do something. And there's so many ways people can help. You know, in our instance, we have people that fundraise, that do marketing, that do recruiting, finance, operations, that come with us to these places, that people volunteer from literally all over the world. And it's something we kind of created from nothing. So again, I hope that hearing a little bit about it is just a message of empowerment for all of you that are listening. And then finally, I'll give it back to Ronald, but you know, there is some talk about some Kenyon alum getting recruited in a future school building endeavor, one or more. So I just urge you to find me through K80s, our Find Pete, our Susie, our look at supportteamdia.com, and just send us a note and we'll get back in touch with you. But I just feel very fortunate to have been part of the Kenyon community and also just to be able to do something like this. So Ronald, thanks to you and the college for the recognition.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's such an inspiring story. And I just want to say, like, this is what it means to be a Kenyon alumni. This is what it means to live a life of purpose and consequence. And so thank you for the work that you are doing out here in the world. All right. And so finally, we have 2 Kenyon-To-Career Ambassador Awards to present tonight. This award is given each year by the Career Development Office in recognition of significant contributions to the professional development, career exploration, and postgraduate success of Kenyon students and alumni. Our first winner was an econ major who went on to attend OSU's Fisher College of Business. She's now a data analyst at JP Morgan Chase, and she advocated for and arranged a full-day visit at JP Morgan for Kenyon students. This was a signature visit during the CDO's fall break job shadows. She ensured that all 9 Kenyon alumni working there were in attendance to network with students and provide insights into their Kenyon experience and career paths. Because of her efforts, Kenyon CDO is now partnered with JP Morgan Columbus and will continue hosting these recruiting events. Thank you, McKenna Trimble, class of 2018. McKenna, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. This means so much to me. I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Josh Lisko and the CDO. He sent me a message over LinkedIn, which is what kicked off this whole process. It would have not been possible without his amazing partnership and the partnership of the college. And I'd just like to say that when I was a student, I went on a career trek to JP Morgan, I believe when I was a junior. It was pivotal to see alumni working at the firm and to see myself at the firm. And I think it was instrumental to what is now my 7-year career at Chase, which I hope to make a very long one. So very excited for the future partnership. So thank you.
Thank you so much, McKenna. And now onto our second Kenyon-To-Career ambassador. They are the CEO and Executive Creative Director of Milestone Marketing, the agency she founded and continues to lead. A Kenyon English major, she has mentored and supported nearly 30 Kenyon students and alumni over the years, offering not only summer internships, but also part-time and full-time employment opportunities. She is deeply committed to guiding students as they explore careers in marketing, branding, and creative strategy. She remains the first and currently only employer to offer exclusive internships to Kenyon students through the Kenyon in Columbus initiative. Thank you, Kristen Ricordati of the class of 05. Kristen, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much. I am so honored to receive this news and receive this award. And yes, same big shout out to everyone at the CDO, including Josh Lisko, for helping connect us with the right students. I started this internship almost 10 years ago because when I was a student at Kenyon, I was so passionate about writing and storytelling and creativity, and I just didn't know what to do with that. I wasn't sure how to make that into a sustainable, exciting career. And so when I started my company Milestone, I knew that when I was building it, that I wanted to partner with Kenyon to create an internship program where I could take students who were like me, who are really passionate about writing, really passionate about storytelling, and show them how they could take all of that intelligence and creativity and turn it into a really amazing career. And so we've had many Kenyon interns for years over the summer, and we've hired many people. We've hired part-time, we've hired full-time. My whole staff is former Kenyon interns and Kenyon alum. So it's so amazing to work with people who have that shorthand and know what life is like on the Hill. So we're obviously already immediately bonded through that, but we're bonded through our love of storytelling, which is what marketing really is. So I absolutely love working with Kenyon students. One of the reasons I wanted to work with Kenyon too is because it produces some of the best storytellers, some of the best, most creative, strategic, amazing people. And so when I was thinking about starting this program, I wanted to mentor because I wanted to show people the way. I wanted to show them how they could turn that passion into amazing skills that they could go on and either work with us, work for other firms. But I also knew, I knew that I was going to get some amazingly talented people, and I'm so lucky to have gotten to work with so many of them and teach them how to do marketing and storytelling with my agency. So thank you so much for this award. I'm really honored.
Thanks to all of our award winners. You are giving back in such important ways, both to Kenyon students, and around the world. Special thanks to you, Ronald, for being with us tonight to present these awards. Kristen and McKenna's CDO Awards recognize the work they've done, as you've heard, with Kenyon students, but we know many alumni are eager to connect with students and share career and life experiences. So before we hear from Annie about a new platform that we're launching, I'd like to turn it back over to Julie to share a bit of more context about how she is thinking about leveraging our vast alumni network and enhancing interdisciplinary and experiential learning opportunities for Kenyon students. Julie?
Thanks, Colleen. I'm really excited, and congratulations to all our alumni awardees. It makes me just so thrilled and so proud to be president with such amazing alum doing work here around the corner in Columbus and all over the world. So thank you for all that you do and for continuing to make us so proud. What I want to talk to you just for a few minutes is a little bit about the kind of work we're doing now in implementing the strategic plan and the strategic vision for Kenyon's third century. I know we're all reading a lot of headlines about higher education and the value of a four-year college degree. And really what we've been thinking about is just, we know here at Kenyon how strong our foundation is, but we also know that we can't stand still, that we need to continue to build on that. We need to continue to invest in what makes Kenyon Kenyon, but we also need to carve out new distinctions that speak to the next generation of students and faculty. And I want to share a little bit with you about what we're talking about. You all know better than anyone that you don't come to Gambier by accident, and it's a very deliberate choice to come here. And students come here with a wide range of interests and talent. They come with passion to travel the world, to start their own business, to transform a business, a community, a life. And everyone in this room knows that a liberal arts education, a Kenyon education actually, is the best foundation for a life of purpose and consequence, as Ron just so beautifully said. But making that connection sometimes for students can be a real leap, particularly for students who are contemplating coming to Kenyon. And we have been working and talking about how is it that we can help students take the incredible strong foundation, the academic foundation that they achieve here at Kenyon, and connect it to real world experiences, and to make sure that every student has that opportunity. So we have been talking about something we're calling Kenyon Pathways, building a little bit off of Middle Path, which are really cross-cutting interdisciplinary themes that are anchored in real-world interests and concerns. For example, navigating global economies and cultures, or inspiring action through words and expression, or sustaining a changing planet. And these are problems that students are really excited to solve in the world. They may not know exactly what career they want to have, but we want to help them while they're here at Kenyon and taking amazing classes, be able to build a portfolio of experiences that happen also outside the classroom, whether that's in a research setting, in an internship, in a civic engaged volunteer project here in Knox County or somewhere else in the world, whether it's through study abroad, and really be able to explore their courses and their majors, and then connect them to real life experiences that help them understand what it is that what they're learning here and how their interests combine to build a career, a life of purpose, of consequence, and really be able to build a portfolio of experiences that connect their academic experience to the world beyond Kenyon. So we're really excited to build out these opportunities for students. We're also talking about doing opportunities in some of the cities, some immersive experiences. So imagine having offering a 2-week spring break course with a faculty member that were a Kenyon in New York or Kenyon in LA, where a faculty member travels to the city and the student has courses in the morning with that faculty member and then spends the afternoon networking, engaging with our alum in the region, in Chicago, in New York, in LA, really being able to provide an opportunity for them to both learn and understand that the careers are possible in some of the areas of interest to them, to get to know and build a network of Kenyon alum who can support them in whether it's through mentoring, whether it's through job shadowing, or even an internship. So we're really trying to intentionally build on Kenyon's strength and build out the scaffolding so that all of our students have access to these kind of experiences outside the classroom, again, to really connect what they're learning in the classroom to real world impact. We want to ensure this often happens organically, as many of you know firsthand. Our students do amazing things both in and out of the classroom, but we really want to do this by design, intentionally for every student. And we're really excited to fuel this with investment and expand our resources to really support the interdisciplinary teaching and experiential learning and career exploration for every student. We're talking about the evolution of faculty advising. I'm sure many of you remember your faculty advisor. Many of you remain in touch with faculty who were pivotal to the opportunities that you pursued post-Kenyon, as well as supporting you while you were here. But we also want to build a set of integrated advisors that help students actually connect with you all as alum to opportunities outside the classroom, to ensure that, again, that students really build a robust portfolio of experiences both in the classroom and out of the classroom. So we're really building on Kenyon's strength, and we really want to have even more robust opportunities to engage you all, both alumni and parents of current students, more systemically, drawing on your experience and your expertise to connect our students to the things that you care about and are passionate about in the world. We're also really excited to focus on our endowment growth as we move into Kenyon's third century. As you all, I know, appreciate, growing our endowment in support of the people and programs is really important both to our sustainability, our financial sustainability in the future, but it's also important to help bring this kind of education to life for all of our students. So I've had wonderful, exciting visits with alum and parents this spring talking about pathways. There's tremendous excitement about these interdisciplinary themes. I wanted to share a bit about that with you as we work over the summer with our faculty to kind of think about the different experiences and opportunities that will populate these pathways. And we're getting such an enthusiastic response from our staff and from our faculty and our students about this. And I'm excited to talk more about it and interested to hear if you have questions about this as well. But just wanted to give you all a bit of a glimpse into the kinds of things we're talking about here on campus and really how we prepare our students and continually really establish the value of a Kenyon education and how it matters both in the world today and here on campus. So I think, Colleen, I will turn this back to you.
Briefly, so a reminder to all of you online, we welcome your questions. You may submit them at any time by using the chat function and ask a question, and we will get to those. But Julie, of course, you mentioned the endowment and how growing the endowment will be essential to realizing Kenyon's plans for the future. And last week we had some very exciting gift news to share, and let me turn it back over to you to do that here tonight.
Thank you. You let me deliver the exciting news. So just to share with all of you, I know you heard me just talk about this. You may have already read about it, but if you're wondering how we're going to build support for this initiative, one way is through the generosity of many of our alum and our board members and many of you. And I am absolutely thrilled to share that our Board of Trustees member, Matt Voorhees, who's the class of 1995, so excited and believes so much in what we're working on here that he's made a lead gift to launch this effort of $25 million. So this is just an incredibly exciting investment in our future and really an amazing I think, a point of pride and investment in our future and feeling of confidence in Kenyon and the work that we have ahead of us. So I know that you're all on mute and I know you're cheering and applauding. So thank you for that. But I can pretend, I'm going to pretend that I hear you clapping. But this is really a big deal for Kenyon. The campaign that concluded last year touched every area of campus, as you know. It added $140 million to the endowment, but there is more work to be done. And Matt's investment also serves not only as an investment in this interdisciplinary initiative, but our lead gift for a new Third Century Founders Initiative that will seek to raise $100 million for Kenyon's endowment in the next 2 years. So this is a bold new initiative. It's ambitious, but it is eminently achievable thanks to the generosity of people like you who love Kenyon. And we're really excited to continue to have this conversation and to build and invest in our future. So thank you.
One aspect of Matt's gift that I love to point out is that he made his very first gift to Kenyon the year he graduated of $25. And so every gift matters. As Julie mentioned, in addition to Matt, so far 8 other donors have come together to get us to $40 million on our way to that $100 million goal. So as is always the case, Kenyon folks are very generous and they express that generosity through their belief in our future. We're focusing on endowment because Kenyon is actually quite modest compared to our peers when it comes to endowment. And so we have a slide to show you that might surprise you a little bit. This slide is a chart showing our endowment per student and gives you a good sense of how we might compare to some of the other schools with whom we compete. A larger endowment is in some ways similar to your 401k. It will help Kenyon weather challenging economic times by providing sustainable income and reducing the college's dependence on tuition. That, combined with your continued support of the annual funds like the Kenyon Fund, are really keys to helping keep our costs down and admitting the very best students to Kenyon regardless of need. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the gifts to technology, including a new student to alumni networking platform that we are calling Just Ask. And it allows students to connect with alumni in their city or in their field as easily as asking a question by email. Here to tell you a little bit more about that is Annie Gordon, our Director of Alumni Engagement. Annie.
Thank you. As Colleen mentioned, we're excited to be introducing a new way for Kenyon students and alumni to reach out for advice or network with each other. Powered by a company called Protopia, this platform allows students to send an email with their burning career or life questions and then be matched to an alum best suited to answer them. And this might be you. So I want to pause here really quickly for a quick tutorial video. This video is geared more for students, but it'll give you the gist of how this product Just Ask will work. Emily Mullins, if you want to tee up the video.
Do you know you are already part of a community of thousands of alumni committed to your success? And you don't have to wait until you graduate to reach out. With Just Ask, it has never been easier to get help from members of the Kenyon community right now. Alumni can help you figure out the next steps in your Kenyon college journey, give you insights into a future career, or help you get your foot in the door at your dream company. Sounds great, right? But the first step is finding them, and that can be a frustrating process. That's where Just Ask can help. You fill out a short online form with your name, your email, and your burning question. We'll send it out to our online community of experts and make a match. Within a few days, a fellow member of the Kenyon community will email you directly. It's as simple as that. You'll get direct one-to-one communication with a Kenyon alum who has paved the way for students just like you. You have a question? Kenyon alumni have answers. Find the alum who can guide you on your journey by visiting justask.kenyon.edu.
So you're always telling us you want more ways to help students with their careers, and this is a way to do it. Some of you may remember a previous technology with this goal, and I'm happy to say that Just Ask improves on that. It doesn't require a login or extensive research. It's truly just sending it and replying to an email. It's already in use at Ohio State, Denison, Worcester, Syracuse, Duke, and others. We're rolling this out to seniors now, and to all students will be encouraged to reach out in the beginning in the fall. There's nothing for you to do as alumni. You just need to wait for the outreach to come from a student, and we hope that you'll respond. You're also welcome to use this yourself. Just ask. This will help you to connect with other alumni. So if you have a question, you can go to Just Ask and ask your question there. I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has any, and you can also chat me as one of the co-hosts. Back to Colleen.
Thank you, Annie. We know one new piece of technology doesn't answer every question, but we're excited for the potential here. Just Ask is a great tool because we know alumni like to remain invested in today's students and in Kenyon, and you're showing that just by your attendance tonight. With that in mind, we know that you may be seeing some headlines about difficult times for higher education, for federal actions, and you might have questions about how Kenyon is affected. So I'd like to turn it back to Julie to address this, and then also ask our general counsel, Jackie, to dig into some of the specifics.
Thanks, Colleen, and I'm happy to jump in here a little bit. I think it's been a bumpy couple of months in terms of really trying to understand the different actions that are coming out both at the federal level and the state level against higher education and other institutions that are really committed to research, discovery, and creative expression. Freedom of expression, freedom of inquiry, academic freedom, these are the bedrocks of higher education and our campus. They're definitely under threat in ways that many of us could not have fathomed. So I just want you to know that we, and Jackie will talk a little bit more specifically, but we take seriously our legal obligations, right, as we seek to protect our students, our mission, and the financial health of our institution. You may have seen that I recently joined more than 500 university presidents and leaders with the American Association of Colleges and Universities, AAC&U, in signing a statement against, quote, the unprecedented government overreach and political interference that many of us, again, over 500 of us, believe is endangering American higher education. I did this because of a couple of reasons that I felt were really important in that statement. I did it because I believe Kenyon and all of us must oppose undue government intrusion into the lives of the people who learn and live and work on our campuses. And I also appreciated that the AAC&U statement acknowledged that higher education in and of itself does need to do some work and take some look at itself. And I think that blend of standing for what we believe in, but also acknowledging that there's continual work to do in the landscape and that we are open to constructive reform and not opposed to legitimate government oversight was the right balance. And so I was proud to join with over 500 other campus leaders in signing this station. So I just will share with you, we will, and I've spoken to faculty and the staff here on campus, we will continue to live our values even and especially when those values are challenged. Kenyon will continue to protect free expression and defend academic freedom, just as we will continue to prohibit discrimination and harassment of any kind. At Kenyon, we really believe in making space for all viewpoints and really providing opportunities and platforms for those with which we may disagree. A college campus is a wonderful place to hear all viewpoints and to share and discuss with civility and with respect. I know many of you look back at your time at Kenyon and remember that Kenyon has a strong history of that, and this is no different. We always are looking for opportunities for students to hear a diverse set of views, to be able to share their viewpoints and to speak civilly and respectfully and to commit to dialogue. This is an amazing opportunity, and Kenyon is a special community that will continue to support that. We are very committed to taking care of one another, especially the most vulnerable among us. Over the past 3 months, as different things have happened, both at the federal and state level, we have met with community members one-on-one. We have met in small groups. We are continually looking how we can support them in the face of very real challenges. We stay informed, we're engaged, we are tracking all the developments that are happening very closely. We're following the legal arguments and challenges, and we are always looking at the potential impact on Kenyon, both human, academic, and financial. Really thrilled that Jackie Holmes has joined us. She's been an incredible asset for us, and I'm going to let her say a few more words on this. But I want to just leave this topic by saying we will continue to do what we do best, and that's to educate. Education is the most powerful tool we have. I am only constantly reminded when I attend a student's capstone and their performance, a talk, or I listen to the incredible questions that our students ask when they're at a CSAD conference, or I watch hundreds of students turn out to celebrate one another at Honors Day. It is so clear that the education we provide here matters so much to our community. And when the value of higher education is being called into question, our best defense, I believe, and our community believes, is to recommit ourselves to the critical work that we do every day so that we can continue to educate, to challenge our own thinking each and every day, and to produce the kind of global citizens that Kenyon has done for years and will continue to do. It's what the world needs from us more than ever. So we are staying true to our values and continuing to do what we do best, and that is to educate. And I wanted to just share that with you as you hear about many different perspectives from the news and from all around the world. So
Thanks,
Jackie,
Julie.
I think I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, everybody. It's lovely to see all of you tonight. I'm thrilled to be at Kenyon. I've been here for about 7 months now, joined a month before the November elections, which was outstanding timing on my part. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing and how we're managing things. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. I'm happy to talk to any of you offline or answer questions if there are specific questions. So at the federal level, there's sort of 3 things going on. The first is Congress. In Congress, what's going on is an attempt to get a budget. They are seeking to cut, depending on whether you talk to the House or the Senate, between $1 billion and $300 billion from the federal education budget. So we are watching that very closely, obviously concerned about potential cuts to financial aid or research funding. There are also some efforts in Congress to raise money from education, including an enhanced endowment tax, which is a real possibility for us. So we're paying very close attention to all of those developments. From the executive branch, you all have seen there have been many education-related executive orders. There have been issues around the Department of Education, and is it going to exist, and if so, in what form, and all of those things. So again, there's not a lot of substance to the Department of Education piece yet. We're following the executive orders closely. I've taken a really hard look at all of our programs, and I believe them to be completely compliant with current federal guidance. So we are, continuing a pace there and have not had significant enforcement actions or anything like that. So we are paying attention there. And then, of course, at the federal level, there's a lot going on in the courts, some challenging the executive orders, some challenging other actions that the administration has taken. So we track that pretty constantly and consistently to try to make sure that we know what the state of play is on any given day on all of these issues. So that's kind of what we're doing at the federal level. And again, I'm happy to speak to specifics in response to questions. And then at the state level, we've had a couple of different things to pay close attention to. As you all undoubtedly heard, or many of you heard, I'm sure, the state of Ohio passed a bill related to bathroom use last fall. So we worked closely with members of our community. We are citizens of the state of Ohio, and as such, we are required to comply with that law. There are many different viewpoints in our community about whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. We have tried our best to hear from all members of our community and to take care of the members of our community who are most affected by that law as we are complying with it. And we are, I believe, fully compliant. And then the other state level issue that we've been tracking is something called SB1 in Ohio, which is a recent state law that applies currently only to public institutions, that has very significant implications for academic freedom. And you heard what Julie had to say about academic freedom. There are efforts right now in the state legislature, as they work on the state budget, to tie the receipt of state money to compliance with certain aspects of SB1. And so we, again, are watching that very closely, and once we have a final budget, we will see what the implications for us are, if any, and for state money that we receive. We do receive some state money, not a lot, but that is something, again, we're watching very closely. We do have some concerns that it may end up affecting us. So I will stop there for now, and of course, happy to answer questions as we move forward.
Thank you, Jackie. I will just echo Julie and say we're just so fortunate to have you leading all of our legal thought around these very complicated issues, and it's wonderful to have you at Kenyon. As the leader of the division that's charged with helping to keep Kenyon alumni connected and inspiring your support, I just want to say how incredibly grateful we are for your continued care for this place. Your gifts to Kenyon are especially meaningful now at a time when there's so much uncertainty. So thank you to everyone who keeps Kenyon in their philanthropic priorities. Also make a quick pitch for Reunion. Reunion is just less now than 3 weeks away. So we hope we'll see many of you in Gambier. And I'll remind you that any gift that's made will be counted towards your class totals, because we know Kenyon alumni are generally supportive of one another. But we do enjoy the competitive spirit that class giving brings out. Let's turn now to your questions. I see that some have been submitted tonight, and again, you are welcome to continue to do so. Our first question is from Brad Hughes, class of 77. I'd like to ask a question on the academic side. What are a couple of difficult challenges Kenyon faces with its curriculum? So, Julie, I will turn that to you. We do not have Jeff Bowman, our provost, with us tonight. He's often with us on these events, but I'm sure you have thoughts as well. So, Julie, how about that?
I think it's an interesting question. I think that I'm not sure that we have difficulties with our curriculum. I think one of the challenges and one of the things that we're really trying to think about with this interdisciplinary approach and the Kenyon pathways and building out the experiential education is to really help our students understand how the curriculum and the amazing things they're learning in the classroom matter in the real world, so that they're able to translate. Yes, I'm a great writer. I think one of our alumni awardees said this so beautifully. I'm a great writer. So what does that mean? How does that translate into the world in ways that could help me plan out my career or my next steps? So the curriculum remains strong. It's evolving. We just hired a brand new directing of a computing center here that will really be a unique Kenyon approach to interdisciplinary education in Kenyon, which I'm very excited about. And we're really bringing someone in who is just awesome and will really build an exciting new program. So we're always continually to look at our curriculum. I think one of the things that we, as you all know well as alum, cultivate very curious students here at Kenyon. Sometimes I think their curiosity leads them to do things that are incredibly difficult, like doubling major with a minor. And I think that one of the challenges of the curriculum is fulfilling all of those requirements while expressing their interests in these different disciplines across the curriculum is challenging, both really time consuming on their completing sometimes capstones and theses in two separate disciplines, and very intensive for our faculty to monitor and train and advise them in those disciplines. So I think we constantly are thinking about, is that the best way to achieve and support some of the interdisciplinary opportunities for our students, or can we continually evolve the curriculum in a way that supports students' interests across many disciplines, but doesn't necessarily require them to always be a double major and a minor. I rarely talk to a student. I've been hosting dinners here for seniors. We've had about 10 different dinners here. So each senior has a chance to have dinner with me in the president's house before they graduate. And I'm always blown away by what the students do and the breadth and depth of the many courses that they take. And that is, you know, one of the opportunities and the benefits of having curious students, but it's also a challenge too. So anyway, I think that's it. It's an interesting question, and I appreciate asking it. I think that you know, we are always looking at the curriculum to make sure it meets the needs of the fields and that our students go into, that it matches the careers and the jobs that they are seeking, or the graduate programs, and that's an ongoing thing. But I think we're very proud of the curriculum here, and again, I think a lot of the work is trying to help the students connect that curriculum and the work classes they're taking to the kinds of experiences that matter to them when they leave Kenyon.
Thank you, Julie. We have two questions, Jackie, that I think are in response to some of your comments. So let me start with the first. It's from Sylvan Seidemann, classes 65. How much research funding does Kenyon receive from the federal government? I know we have Todd Burson on the line too, but Jackie, I think you can probably answer that one.
It's on the order of a couple $1 million a year. So we're not a Columbia for sure, or a Harvard. But nonetheless, it's important to the faculty who have those grants, and they're doing really important work with it. So we're definitely paying close attention.
Thank you, Jackie. And the other question was from Dave Cottrell, class of 88, about the endowment tax. And so I will maybe just start out by saying that Kenyon is not currently subject to the endowment tax. It's for schools who have endowments that are much, much higher than us. But of course, there's lots of ideas being circulated. So Jackie, would you like to say a few more words about that?
Sure, absolutely. So, Colleen, you're exactly right. We are not currently subject to the endowment tax, which is a good thing. And there are many proposals in Congress simply to raise the tax on the institutions that are subject to it. There also have been proposals in Congress to lower the threshold for endowments that are subject to the tax to a level that, if you all remember the chart Colleen showed earlier, might be as low as $300,000, which could affect Kenyon as well. So right at the moment, what we are doing is watching. We are talking to our representatives in Congress about these issues, both directly and through advocacy organizations, to ensure that they understand the full import of imposing a tax like that on a place like Kenyon. And so we're definitely engaging in that advocacy in an appropriate way. But that's kind of where things are at the moment. There's a lot in flux.
Thank you, Jackie.
Sure.
Julie, I'll turn back to you with our next question. It's about the pathways. It comes from Taryn Myers, who asks, would pathways apply to all majors? It seems like some majors like poli-sci or econ would be much more easily incorporated than others like psych or English. Julie.
Yeah, that's a great question, and thank you. And the answer is emphatically yes. So all of the way we have designed the pathways is really to be broad themes that really will encompass a large number of majors under one umbrella. So if you can imagine, I'll use inspiring action through words and expression. We can imagine that in that pathway you would have. Yes, we would have studio art majors and English majors who use their art and their words to inspire action and to cultivate thought. But we would also imagine having political science majors and history majors in that same pathway, sharing opportunities to come together for conversation, for programming, for projects together, where people are all the students are really thinking about the theme, this how do we use our words and expression to inspire action from a broad range of perspectives. And so that's, I think, one of the richnesses and the beauty of the pathways. It allows us to have students who might not otherwise convene together. So we know the chemistry majors spend a lot of time with chemistry majors, and maybe math majors spend a lot of time with math majors. But if you can think about these themes as very interdisciplinary, again, I'll use another example of sustainability and a changing planet. We might have artists who are using their art to express and visualize challenges in climate And we also might have chemistry majors or biology majors or environmental study majors who are working in the lab to look at very basic science questions about how do we prepare for global change, global warming, or how do we, manipulate different kinds of scientific elements to actually build products that are more resilient in climate, weather opportunities. So the idea very much is this holistic umbrella that will bring students across disciplines together and share experiences and opportunities, both to come together and hear speakers, if you will, to volunteer together in the community in areas that are of interest to them, even though they might be studying very different things. So it's absolutely meant to apply. And we see these things as not fixed. So students may move among and between pathways. So it's not the same as a major where you actually have an academic course and a plan that you're going to follow. But your interests may evolve and change in your time here, and we want that to happen, and we want to foster and support that. And so that's an opportunity that we think Pathways will provide.
I think we have time for one more question. So I'll pose this one that came in from Peter Graustra, class of '89. Can you talk a bit more about how the recent political events have affected the mood on campus, particularly for students, but also for the broader campus?
I can take that. Jeff Bowman and I, as a provost here, we were just talking about this today. It's sometimes kind of fascinating because I will, in my morning cup of tea, read the headlines and the Chronicle of Higher Education and be a little down in the dumps. And then I walk outside and the kids are playing Frisbee and reading a book under the tree and enjoying their lives on campus. And in many ways that are just so wonderful and so inspiring. And so, it's kind of interesting. I think the students are very much in the moment and enjoying their time and challenging themselves academically and having great conversations, but they don't seem to be affect the mood on campus is very positive. And sometimes we're it's an interesting juxtaposition in some ways, and frankly, a wonderful juxtaposition to see young students who are still really hopeful and excited for the future, and very, very much immersed in their activities on campus, whether it's in the classroom or not. So it really is, the mood is actually quite good. That's not to say that we don't have students who are worried. We've been spending a lot of time talking to international students here. We have made it very clear to international students who are nervous about going back home and then possibly having a challenge to returning, that we are opening the campus to them this summer, that they can stay here if they don't feel comfortable returning home. So we want to and have been working, as I mentioned earlier, in small groups with students who are feeling particularly vulnerable, and making sure that they have the support that they need. And I think those are some of the concerns. They tend to be a bit more individual, whether it's students on visas. I think we have students who are applying to doctoral programs. To speak to the question about the research funding, while we're not a school that is hugely impacted by the cuts in research funding, many of our students go on to doctoral programs and graduate programs at those very prestigious programs. And some of those programs are not being able to take students in the ways that they have in the past. And that's certainly distressing and concerning, both to the students who we're excited about the next step in their career, and frankly to our faculty who work very hard to train those students. And we have such success in getting students into very prestigious graduate school programs. And so to see some of those doors closed right now is frustrating and concerning. So definitely there are pockets and areas where people have concerns, but I will say overall the mood is good, and the students particular seniors are ready to celebrate senior week. We had a rainy summer send-off, but the students were still out in full force, enjoying the music and being out with their friends and socializing. So overall, it's a good time to be here at Kenyon.
As it typically does, this hour goes very quickly. I'd like to end by congratulating again our award winners, thanking Ronald for being here with us to present those excellent awards. I hope you were all inspired by your fellow alumni. If you'll indulge me for one moment, I just want to say that we started doing these virtual town halls about 5 years ago when COVID hit. And we weren't able to be with you in person. And we've continued them because you continue to show up. And they've been such a really lovely way to connect with alumni all around the world. Some of the folks who put in a tremendous amount of effort to pull these off are not seen on screen. So I want to give a shout out to Molly Vogel and Emily Mullins, who do a tremendous amount of work to pull them off. And then I'll just close by saying it has been my honor to serve as your moderator for these events. This is my last one as I head into retirement, and I will miss them. When I open up these screens, I see so many familiar faces and names, and I have loved connecting with all of you virtually and in person. So thank you all for being with us tonight. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.